During the 2000s, many of the greatest players ever were in their prime.
Showtime! How in the world did he do that?
Which is why many consider this decade to be the golden era of the NBA.
Bryant for the win! Bang!
For this list, we focused on players' body of work between the 2000 NBA season until 2009, taking into account team success, individual accolades, and consistency throughout the decade. And these are the 15 best players of the 2000s. Drafted third overall in 2001, Pau Gasol instantly made an impact with the struggling Grizzlies.
There he goes! Oh!
Dominantly winning Rookie of the Year with 17.6 points, 8.9 rebounds, 2.7 assists, and 2.1 blocks per game, while shooting 52% from the field. Over the next 6 years, Gasol's numbers remained fairly consistent, and you could always count on his efficient 20 and 10, several assists plus 2 blocks. But because he never had a teammate who averaged over 14 points per game, all Gasol could do was drag the Grizzlies to the playoffs, where they got swept 3 years in a row. Finally, at the 2008 trade deadline, Gasol got traded to the Lakers, who saved him from wasting his talents in Memphis. During his first season in LA, Gasol helped Kobe and the Lakers to reach the NBA Finals, where they would lose to the Celtics in 6 games. In the summer, Pau led the Spanish national team to the Olympics Finals, where they nearly defeated the Redeem team. This was Gasol's 5th medal with the national team, and he was clearly the best European player at the time, outside of maybe Dirk Nowitzki. Playing for Spain fully unleashed Gasol, as he had the freedom to shoot 3-pointers, hold the ball more, and dominate as a scorer, leading all players at the Olympics in points scored and finishing second in field goal percentage. Upon his return to Los Angeles, Kobe gave his teammate a proper welcome in a true Mamba fashion.
Pau hates it every time I tell this story. He hates it. But we lost to the Celtics in 08. And so we go into the Olympic year that year. We wound up playing Spain for the gold medal match, and we beat them. And so now we come back to start training camp, and Pau shows up first day of training camp. I had my gold medal hanging in his locker.
Oh, no.
I said, listen, Pau, you lost to the Celtics. You lost to us in the gold medal match. Let's not make this 3 in a row this year.
Wow.
Okay?
That is
Let's
brilliant.
win this thing. And that was it for him.
But Kobe's mind games had a goal and vision for Gasol to become more aggressive, and it worked.
I get it. All right, I'm all in.
Pau averaged 19 points per game, a career-high 57% shooting from the field, along with 3.5 assists and 2 blocks. In the playoffs, Pau further increased his efficiency and rebounding numbers, helping Kobe and the Lakers clinch their first championship since Shaq left.
Bryant looks inside, finds Gasol. Gasol, count it, and a foul!
And even though other power forwards like Chris Webber, Chris Bosh, Amari Stoudemire, and Jermaine O'Neal made more All-Star games and averaged more points than Pau for a better part of the decade, none of them were as efficient, consistent, and versatile as Gasol, who could truly do everything on the court.
That's the only thing we're talking about. Look at Gasol behind his back, over to Ariza for the slam. Do you believe it?
If Pau had played in the modern era, and if he had better teammates in Memphis, his all-around greatness would be even more pronounced, with even better stats.
Backs in, spins, fake, shot. It's good! Gasol got it to go!
Like Pau, this next player was drafted into a newly established franchise, where he immediately became a legend, but then he threw it all away in one of the most gruesome trade requests of all time. It's Vince Carter, who was drafted by the Toronto Raptors in 1998 and quickly became one of the league's best players with his otherworldly athleticism.
Carter elevates and throws it down. My goodness.
After he won the 1999 Rookie of the Year at the turn of the millennium, Carter became one of the faces of the league. Already averaging 25.7 points per game in his second season, Vinsanity became a global sensation after putting up one of the best slam dunk performances ever at the 2000 All-Star Weekend.
With his first shot!
With arguably the quickest first step in the league, a silky jumper, and the ability to jump out of the gym, Vince was unstoppable.
Ahead of the pack, showtime! Oh,
leading the Raptors to their first playoff appearance in franchise history. After that, at the 2000 Olympics, he threw the most disrespectful dunk of all time. In 2001, Carter averaged 27.6 points per game, which is the equivalent of 30-plus in the modern NBA. See, the 2000s were known as the dead ball era, and the game was played at the slowest pace in NBA history, which is important when putting Carter's individual statistics into context, because when Vince averaged over 27 points in 2001, it was different from averaging 27 in 2025, and much harder to accomplish. That season, Vince also led Toronto to the first playoff series win in franchise history against the Knicks, which set them up to play the 76ers and the league MVP Allen Iverson. It was one of the most fun scoring duels of the decade, as Iverson dropped 54 in Game 2, to which Carter responded with 50 in Game 3.
Look up, and here is going to be Carter. 50.
AI had another 50-piece in Game 5, but Carter countered with 39 in Game 6.
Is there a way to stop him from that?
No, man. If there was, we would have did it.
It all came down to Game 7, where neither superstar really had a hot hand, and Carter ultimately missed a potential series-winning jumper at the buzzer, and Toronto lost.
Carter trying to get free. Carter at the buzzer. No good.
Over the next 3 years, Vince averaged 23, 4, and 4, but the Raptors struggled, not even being able to make the playoffs in 2003 and 2004. Fed up, Vince demanded to be traded, doing so in the worst possible way, by sabotaging his team on the floor.
He used to get to the foul line a lot more. He used to get a lot of dunks inside. Is it?
I don't want to dunk anymore.
Why not?
For what?
After 20 long games of suffering, Toronto finally relented and got rid of him, while getting almost nothing in return. And once he was traded to the Nets, Vince jumped from 16 points on 41% shooting to 27.5 points on 46% shooting. Due to his lack of effort and stabbing his team in the back, the Raptors fans hated him for years, despite Carter earning the nickname Air Canada and the status of national hero. During his 5-year tenure with the Nets, Carter continued to dunk on people.
Carter to the rim!
Averaging 23.6 points per game, 5.8 rebounds, and 4.7 assists. But playoff success remained out of reach, as he won only 2 playoff series with New Jersey, never advancing past the second round. But despite only 3 first-round wins in the entire decade, the horrible way he left Toronto, Vince was simply too good to ignore.
They have no timeouts remaining. Now Carter fires.
24 points per game, 8 All-Star appearances, and some of the nastiest dunks of all time made him a legend, for which he'll forever be known as half man, half amazing.
4-on-1 up top.
And Vince Carter's teammate with the Nets is one of the best pure point guards in NBA history.
Up the floor, Jefferson, behind the back. Oh, razzle-dazzle.
Jason Kidd was drafted in 1995, and when the 2000s started, he was without a doubt the best point guard in the NBA, leading the NBA in assists 4 times in 5 years. Along with being one of the best rebounders and defenders of all time at his position, Kidd was a perennial MVP candidate in the first half of the 2000s. In 2002 and 2003, Jason led the Nets to the NBA Finals, but couldn't overcome the dynamic duo of Shaq and Kobe, and then the all-around greatness of Tim Duncan and the Spurs. And even though his numbers started to decrease after his 30th birthday, Kidd was still savvy enough to stay at the top by developing his outside shot, the only flaw in his early career. During the decade, Kidd averaged 14 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists, and 2 steals per game, making 5 All-NBA teams and 8 All-Defensive teams, establishing himself as one of the most intelligent guys to ever play.
Over to Kidd. Baseline drive. Kidd throws it up. Oh! How did he do it? A circus shot!
But Jason Kidd's greatest weakness was this next player's greatest strength. And before Steph Curry, many considered him to be the greatest shooter of all time. Some people called him Jesus, but he's better known as Ray Allen.
And there's Ray. He's open for the tie!
Who got drafted to the league in the infamous 1996 draft class, the best draft of all time. Ray became an All-Star for the first time in 2000, a feat that he would accomplish 8 more times during the decade. And even though Allen was mostly known as a shooter, young Ray was very athletic. He could put the ball on the floor and finish at the basket with power.
And he finishes!
Allen was also a solid passer, averaging 3.8 assists per game during the 2000s, along with 22.1 points and 4.4 rebounds. However, his greatest gift was the three-point shot, and Allen was one of the few players in the league who shot over 5 threes per game, averaging 6.7 attempts from deep during the decade, and making them at 40.3%. But one conference finals with the Bucks and one second-round appearance with the Sonics was the furthest Allen's teams went in the playoffs, until he got traded to Boston after the 2007 season. In his first year as a Celtic, Allen won the NBA championship, averaging 20 points in the finals, while hitting over 50% of his shots, including 52% behind the arc. In the series-ending Game 6 of the NBA Finals, Allen tied an NBA Finals record with 7 three-pointers in the Celtics' 131-92 victory over the Lakers.
Ray Allen, another three, knocks it down. His 7th three-pointer of the game, tying an NBA Finals record.
In the next season, the Celtics lost Garnett for the playoffs, but in the first round against the Bulls, Allen exploded for 51 points, becoming just the 19th player in NBA history with a 50-point game in the playoffs.
Allen knocks it in over Heinrich. 51 points in 56 minutes.
But without KG, the Celtics lost in the following round, and Allen closed out the decade with most total three-pointers made, 9th in total points scored, and 2nd in free throw percentage.
Ray Allen for the game, got it at the buzzer!
But despite Ray's greatness, he wasn't as talented as this next player, who could have become one of the top 10 players of all time if it wasn't for injuries. Drafted straight out of high school in 1997, Tracy McGrady joined his cousin Vince Carter on the Raptors. But due to better finances, warm weather, and a wish to be a star on his own team, he joined the Magic after 3 seasons in Canada. And then he absolutely exploded.
He takes it! Not that one, Mr. McGrady!
During his first 4 seasons in Orlando, nobody scored more points than T-Mac, who won 2 scoring titles, averaging 28 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.5 steals, and 1 block per game. McGrady really could do it all. He had the size, athleticism, soft shooting touch, court vision, defense, and was also one of the most fun players to watch. His duels with Kobe were must-see TV.
Out of his wheelhouse. McGrady, what a move.
And at the time, nobody could confidently say that Bryant was the better player.
But the guy that always gave me the most problems actually was Tracy McGrady. You know, he had all the skills and all the athleticism, but he was 6'9", and he was really, really tough to figure out.
But Kobe had Shaq, and he was winning championships, while Tracy played with a bunch of rookies and the always injured Grant Hill, and he couldn't get past the first round of the playoffs. After the 2004 season, in which he won the scoring title, but Orlando finished with the worst record in the league, McGrady had had enough, and a change of scenery was much needed. So he moved to Houston, where he teamed up with one of the best centers in the NBA, Yao Ming. But this dream pairing couldn't stay healthy, and in every playoff, either T-Mac or Yao were hurt. Despite averaging 24, 6, and 6 over the next 4 years, McGrady still didn't get past the first round. And in 2009, his knees betrayed him, and T-Mac was never the same player again. Still, during the 2000s, McGrady finished with the 4th highest scoring average. He was 8th in assists per game.
T-Mac was unbelievable, man. I mean, he was so talented. He's the best passer ever played with. He was an amazing scorer, and he was explosive and all that, but man, he was like, you know, on time, on target. You know, I used to yell at LeBron and D-Wade, and I'm like, dude, like, you want assists? Hit me in the chest. And they'd be throwing it at my ankles. Or T-Mac never missed the pass. Never. You have to give him his flowers. He's the best, one of the best passers of our generation.
And will forever be remembered as one of the greatest talents in league history.
Here comes McGrady. No timeouts remaining. McGrady for the win. Yes!
Similar to McGrady, this Canadian point guard could never get over the hump in the playoffs, despite becoming one of the best players of all time. Steve Nash was drafted in 1996, but it took him a while to adapt to the physicality of the NBA, as he only became a full-time starter in 2001, his 5th season in the league. But once he started being more aggressive and hunting for his shot more, the 6'3" Canadian that looked like a skateboarder became unstoppable, serving the most beautiful dimes out of anybody in NBA history, not named Magic or Jason Williams. From 2001 until 2004, Nash was a 2-time All-Star with the Mavericks. But because he was already past 30 and had a bad back, Mark Cuban didn't have faith in Nash, who signed with the Phoenix Suns, where he became a legend.
That triggers the rush the other way by Nash. Oh, what a pass! Back! Yeah!
Teaming up with Mike D'Antoni, Nash led the infamous 7 seconds or less offense based on pace and three-point shooting, which was 10 years ahead of its time. 2 MVP awards followed in 2005 and 2006, along with multiple 50, 40, 90 seasons.
Steve Nash, the MVP of the NBA.
But injuries, controversial decisions, and a lack of luck stopped Nash from making the NBA Finals. Steve finished the decade with 3 assists titles, 6 All-NBA teams, and the unofficial title of the most efficient shooter in the NBA. And he's one of the players who would have benefited most if he'd played in the modern NBA, where his shooting prowess and basketball IQ would have made him an even bigger star.
But I think I was too conservative shooting the ball. Like, I should have walked into way more threes. I should have looked for more threes.
And while he was a very good three-point shooter, the 2000s suited Paul Pierce perfectly.
Show me what you got. Pierce pulls up for a 3. That's what I've got.
As his body was made for the rough style of basketball. Pierce wasn't overly quick nor athletic, but he had excellent footwork, handles, and big, broad shoulders, which could be used to bump into players and create separation.
Pierce comes charging, and oh my!
After finishing 3rd in Rookie of the Year voting in 1999 behind Vince Carter and White Chocolate, Pierce started the decade with 19.5 points per game in the 2000 season, which was nearly his last. On September 5th, 2000, Pierce was stabbed 11 times in the face, neck, and back, and had a bottle smashed over his head at a nightclub in Boston, almost bleeding to death. But he managed to survive and recover in record time. And despite missing training camp because of his injuries, Pierce didn't miss a single game during the 2001 NBA season. And not only did he play in every game, but Pierce dominated, averaging 25.3 points, 6.4 rebounds, and 3.1 assists. In March of 2001, after Paul dropped 42 points on the Lakers, Shaq called Pierce the truth.
Write this down. Paul Pierce is the mother truth.
Over the next 6 seasons, the Truth became a perennial all-star, averaging 24.7 points per game. But the Celtics couldn't keep up with the better teams in the East, and it looked like Pierce would remain ringless. But then, Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen showed up, and Boston made the biggest turnaround in NBA history, winning 42 games more than they did the previous season. And even though they were favorites, it took the Celtics 7 games to get past the Hawks and the Cavs, the latter series going down in history due to the heavyweight matchup of Pierce and LeBron James, with both players scoring over 40 points in Game 7. But after they survived this series, the Celtics defeated the Pistons in 6, securing a clash with the Lakers in the NBA Finals. Game 1 of the Finals proved to be the most famous game of Paul's career, after he got hurt and was carried out to the locker room in a wheelchair.
Certainly not the sight the Celtics and their fans want to see. Paul Pierce in a lot of pain, had to be carried off, then they put him in the wheelchair.
Only to return a few minutes later.
This is the sight that the Celtics fans want to see. And hear the ovation as he comes hopping out of the tunnel.
And sparked the Celtics with 15 points in the 3rd quarter, en route to a 98-88 victory. Boston eventually edged out the Lakers in 6 games, with Pierce averaging 22 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 6 assists per game, and deservedly got named the Finals MVP. Pierce finished the decade with 4th most points scored, 4th in made free throws, and total minutes. The Truth had a legendary game and one of the best nicknames in the business. But if there was anybody who could match that, it was this scrawny 6-foot shooting guard whom they called the Answer. Allen Iverson took the league by storm even as a rookie after he crossed MJ.
Iverson has Jordan. The crowd is into it. Allen shakes free, gets 2!
And scored 40 in 5 straight games, which broke Wilt Chamberlain's rookie record.
Iverson for the record, yes, and there it is! Allen Iverson, 4 straight with 40 or more, breaking the Wilt Chamberlain standard that had stood for 37 years.
By the turn of the millennium, AI became the most feared guy in the NBA because nobody was safe from broken ankles when guarding him. In 2001, Iverson led the league in scoring for the 2nd time, with 31.1 points per game, becoming the smallest and lightest player ever to win the MVP award. That season, he led the Sixers to the NBA Finals, and in Game 1, he played one of the best games in NBA Finals history, scoring 48 points and upsetting the Lakers in the Staples Center with this legendary move.
Bothered by Lou. Iverson. Yes. How about
got that steps over Tyronn Lue.
Over the next 5 years, AI averaged 30 points per game and won 2 more scoring titles. But despite becoming one of the most popular players ever, his Sixers never reached the finals and only won 1 playoff series. In 2007, tired from Iverson's lack of practice and constant tardiness,
I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice. I mean, listen, we're talking about practice. Not a game, we're talking about practice.
They traded him to Denver, where he teamed up with Carmelo Anthony, forming one of the most potent offensive duos in the league. But even though they were fun to watch, the substance didn't match the style, and the Nuggets only won 1 playoff game during Iverson's tenure. AI finished the decade in Detroit, where he was once again named an All-Star, but where his career took a downturn. Still, despite that sour ending, AI was the 2nd leading scorer of the decade and will forever be remembered as one of the greatest shooting guards of all time due to his game, his style, and his attitude.
The steal by Iverson, posting in! He wins it! He won the game! He won the game!
And this next player was also a shooting guard, and he was often compared to Iverson due to the similarities in their games. Dwyane Wade got nicknamed the Flash because nobody in the NBA was better than him at splitting double teams and attacking the basket at full speed without thinking about the consequences.
O'Neal got a piece of it. Wade.
But despite all the similarities, Wade was a much more complete player than AI. The Flash was one of the best defenders ever at his position, and his 885 career blocked shots are the most in NBA history by a player 6'4" or shorter. And even though he won only 1 scoring title to Iverson's 4 and wasn't able to win the league MVP, Wade did something more important, winning the Finals MVP in 2006, in what was one of the best Finals performances of all time. After falling behind 2-0 to Dallas and staring down at a 13-point deficit with 6 minutes to go in Game 3, Wade pulled off a miraculous comeback, scoring 12 of the final 20 Miami points.
Wade, it's good! 1-point game.
Leading his team with 42 points and 13 rebounds.
Point to the basket. It's the lob, knocked away, and the Heat survive.
And by
Wade.
there you go.
A stirring 4th quarter comeback.
And he followed it up with 36 points in Game 4, 43 points in Game 5, and then another 36 in the deciding game, as Miami won their first ever championship. Wade averaged 34.7 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and nearly 3 steals per game in one of the slowest paced finals ever. And his 34.7 points per game are even greater if you know that the Heat averaged just 92 points in the series. And even though he only played 6 seasons in the 2000s, Wade's numbers and domination on both ends of the court put him ahead of guys like Tony Parker and Chauncey Billups, who also won Finals MVPs during the decade. Wade averaged 25 points, 5 rebounds, 6.7 assists, 1.8 steals, and 1 block from 2004 to 2009, and is, without a doubt, the 3rd best shooting guard of all time.
Thomas, Wade with a steal, with 2. Wade puts it up for the win. Yeah, baby! He did it! Dwyane Wade with the steal and the game winner!
And the guy who lost to Wade in the 2006 Finals is the best European scorer of all time and one of the best shooting bigs ever. Of course, it's Dirk Nowitzki, whose legendary championship run didn't happen during the 2000s, but so many other things did.
5 seconds to go. Dirk from the left wing. It's over 29 to go.
At the beginning of the decade, Dirk was still somewhat skinny and adjusting to the NBA, averaging 17.5 points per game. In 2001, he made his first All-NBA team, and for the next 10 years, Nowitzki was one of the league's best players and a perennial MVP candidate. A year after he lost the NBA Finals, Nowitzki became the first European player to win the MVP award after leading the Mavericks to a franchise record 67 wins. The blonde German made 9 All-NBA teams during the 2000s, including 4 first-team selections, averaging 23.6 points, 9 rebounds, and 2.8 assists per game, shooting close to 50-40-90 for an entire decade. Dirk was the 3rd leading scorer of the 2000s and the 4th most efficient scorer among players who scored more than 10,000 points in the decade.
Caught by Dirk. Over by Mute for the win. He gets a bounce. He got the bounce.
And just like Dirk, this next player won 1 MVP and made 1 NBA Finals during the 2000s. And even though he only played 6 years in the decade, he could have been a Hall of Famer if he retired after 2009. Drafted first overall in 2003, LeBron James was the chosen one, and he immediately delivered on the promise of becoming Cleveland's savior.
Pau James, LeBron to the hoop for the win! He's got it! It's over!
After winning Rookie of the Year over Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James became one of the 10 best players in the league at the age of 20, averaging 27, 7, and 7 in 2005. In 2007, the King produced one of the most legendary playoff runs of all time, dragging the group of innocent bystanders to the NBA Finals, which was most notable during Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals, where LeBron scored 29 out of the last 30 Cavs points in a double overtime win against the Pistons.
4-3, James scores with 2.2 to go!
In 2008, LeBron won his first and only scoring title, and in the following season, his first MVP. The 2009 LeBron might be the most athletic human who ever played basketball, as he was routinely jumping with his head above the rim and was the deadliest transition player we have ever seen.
James!
Even though he didn't win the title during the 2000s, James finished in the top 10 in MVP voting in all 6 seasons he played in the decade, and only Kobe and AI averaged more points than him in the 2000s.
Lewis gets it to LeBron for 3 for the win. Yes! LeBron James at the buzzer!
However, despite LeBron's greatness, these next 4 players had a bigger body of work, as they spent most of their primes during the 2000s. Like LeBron, Kevin Garnett came to the NBA straight after high school, getting drafted in 1995. And when the 2000s rolled around, he was already one of the 5 best players in the world.
Garnett with 2, with 1 for the win. He's got it. It's over.
KG finished second in MVP voting in 2000 and 2003 and was easily the most versatile player in the NBA. Garnett could score from the post and hit jumpers like a shooting guard. He stole the ball, blocked shots, rebounded like crazy, averaged more than 5 assists per game, and he could defend all 5 positions. In 2004, he played the best season of his career, averaging 24.2 points, a league-leading 13.9 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.5 steals, and 2.2 blocks per game, in what was arguably the greatest all-around season in NBA history.
Who's the best player in NBA?
KG, the big ticket.
Okay.
Unanimous MVP. If he don't get it this year, I'm leaving. Ain't no second season for me if he don't get it this year. Unanimous decision, man. KG the big ticket.
Garnett was finally named the league MVP, and what was even more important, after 7 consecutive first-round playoff exits, his Timberwolves finally won a playoff series. Minnesota made it to the conference finals, and maybe they could have gone all the way if Sam Cassell didn't injure his hip while doing his famous big balls dance. But after that season, the Timberwolves fell apart, not even making the playoffs in the next 3 seasons, despite the sustained greatness from KG. Finally, after 12 years, Minnesota decided to relieve Garnett of his misery, trading him to Boston, where KG's intensity and championship mentality shone in full effect. Even though his scoring average dipped below 20 points per game for the first time in 10 years, Garnett won his first Defensive Player of the Year trophy and shot the ball more efficiently than ever. In the playoffs, the Celtics made the NBA Finals for the first time in 20 years, where they defeated the Lakers in 6 games.
Here's to Garnett. Garnett inside, backs it in, and a foul. What a play from Kevin Garnett.
After which, KG unleashed a primal scream and one of the best quotes of all time.
Anything's possible!
For the decade, KG led all players in total rebounds. He was 6th in points scored, 7th in total blocks, 11th in steals, and 14th in assists, and by far the first in head-butted stanchions. But if there's any power forward in history that can say he was better than KG, that's Timothy Theodore Duncan.
Tim rebounding it and bringing it. The crossover. Get out of here! Tim Duncan!
A guy from the Virgin Islands who was supposed to be an Olympic swimmer and only picked up basketball after a hurricane destroyed the only pool on the island. Just a few years later, he had the most polished post game and became one of the best post defenders ever, with a pterodactyl-like 7'5" wingspan, mobile legs, great basketball IQ, and a perfect understanding of angles. Timmy could teach geometry at some university based on his patented bank shots alone, one of the most unique trademark moves of all time. After he won the 1999 championship and Finals MVP in only his second season, Duncan continued to dominate in the new millennium. It wasn't loud, it wasn't flashy, but Duncan was getting the job done, and that job was winning games.
To the basket, Duncan, a three-pointer, puts it up, it's good! Tim Duncan from three-point land ties the game!
No other player won more games than Duncan during the 2000s, with 3 more championships, 2 Finals MVPs, and 2 regular season MVPs. Timmy made either first or second All-NBA team in each season of the 2000s, averaging 21.4 points, 11.7 rebounds, 3.3 assists, and 2.3 blocks. During the decade, Tim ranked second in total rebounds, first in blocks, 7th in points, and first in plus-minus, as the Spurs outscored opponents by 7 points on average during Duncan's each game for the team.
Double, Shaq all over him. He gets away, a fadeaway. He makes it with 4:10 left. Unbelievable.
But even though his performance fell off during the second part of the decade, in the first part, he was by far the best player in the league and the most dominant player of all time. Shaq was great from the moment he stepped into the league in 1992, with an unprecedented blend of size, quickness, and power. However, it wasn't until Phil Jackson joined the Lakers before the start of the 2000 season that Shaq fully unleashed his potential. Coming ready for training camp for the first time in years, O'Neal was 345 pounds of pure muscle, and it showed when the season started.
He's allowed to pass. Slam dunk. Standing ovation. Beautiful play.
Nobody in the NBA could contain Shaq one-on-one, and his mere presence would put opposing teams in foul trouble, because fouling Shaq was often the only solution for poor defenders who had to guard this monster. O'Neal led the league in scoring with 29.7 points per game, along with 13.6 rebounds, 3.8 assists, and 3 blocks per game. Shaq was 1 vote away from becoming the first unanimous MVP in NBA history. But the most important thing was to win the championship. And after he knocked down the Blazers with the alley-oop from Kobe,
Bryant to Shaq!
O'Neal put up one of the most dominant finals performances of all time against Indiana, averaging 38 points, 16.7 rebounds, and 2.7 blocks per game, finally winning the ring and the Finals MVP. And then in the next 2 seasons, Shaq was virtually unstoppable, continuing his domination with 2 more titles and 2 more Finals MVPs. But after a tough breakup with Kobe and the Lakers, Shaq got into shape again, almost winning another MVP with the Miami Heat. But even though Nash got the individual award, O'Neal won another title in 2006, despite not dominating like he used to. In the next 3 seasons, O'Neal made 2 more All-Star games, even winning the 2009 All-Star MVP with Kobe. But it was clear that his best days were behind him. Still, for the decade, Shaq averaged 23 points, 10.5 rebounds, and 2.2 blocks, with 7 All-NBA first-team selections. And the best player of the 2000s? The guy who helped Shaq win those championships, only to get asked how O'Neal's ass tasted a few years later.
Kobe, tell me how my ass tastes.
But even though he started the decade as Shaq's sidekick, Kobe Bryant finished it as the best player in the world. Kobe entered his prime around 2001, when the Lakers won their second championship, with Bryant averaging 29, 7, and 6 during the entire playoff run. After 2002, Kobe became the best Lakers player, both offensively.
Long run out by Kobe Bryant. Behind it. Just see!
And defensively.
Ray Allen, swatted away by Kobe.
Now, many people remember Mamba as a scorer, but what gets forgotten is how stifling his defense was during the 2000s, when he was in his athletic prime. Bryant finished in the top 5 in voting for Defensive Player of the Year 3 times, along with 7 selections to the All-Defensive First Team and 2 Second All-Defensive Teams. And yet, when Shaq left in 2004, Kobe was finally unleashed, and he could showcase his full offensive repertoire.
Bryant for the win! Bang!
Even though the team struggled in the next 3 seasons, we will forever remember the 62 points he scored against the Mavs in 3 quarters.
Now Kobe for 3. I don't believe it! Incredible! 62 for Kobe.
And the 81 he dropped on the Raptors.
And an 81-point game.
55 in the second half.
In a season where he averaged 35.4 points per game. When Pau Gasol joined the team, Kobe finally won the long-overdue MVP award in 2008. But arguably, the best season of his career came in 2009. Even though he lost a tiny bit of the athleticism he had during the early 2000s, what replaced it was maturity and the perfect understanding of all facets of the game, where everyone should stand on the floor, and how to push his teammates' buttons while being more social than ever. Kobe was finally a true leader, and in 2009, he led the Lakers to another championship, averaging 30.2 points, 5 rebounds, and 5.5 assists across the entire playoff run, becoming just the 4th player to win the Finals MVP while averaging over 30 points for the entire playoffs. And on top of his 4 championships, 10 All-NBA selections, Bryant was also the leading scorer of the 2000s, 5th in steals and 12th in assists, and is, without a doubt, the best player of the decade.
Battier watching Kobe. Scooping, driving, and putting it in! How in the world did he do that?
Thank you for watching. And if you like this video, we have another one for you right here.